We got as far as using our back to beauty to create this desaturated look of our dolly move. So we have this dolly move coming across. Now here I want to relight it. What I want to do is at the start of the dolly have the light switched off, and later on have it switch on. So what I'm going to do is show you how I've done that. I've used the trick of using a from, in other words subtracting the light select from the render. Now you notice this saturation node which has a green arrow pointing into it. That is an expression link, and the reason for that is if I turn that desaturation off, you get this horrible blue. Now that makes a lot of sense if you think about it. If we go up, if you remember in the last clip, we desaturated the entire scene, but yet we're then subtracting the values of this light select which hasn't been desaturated. So we're subtracting yellow. The opposite of yellow is blue. So where we subtract yellow, we get this blue mark, and we don't like it. So what I've done is I've created a second saturation node, and I've taken the first one, and then I've, from this squiggly line, done a control click and drag, and that creates an expression link. And if I click on that, edit expression, you can see parent.saturation3, saturation3.saturation, which is the name of the knob we are looking at. They are called knobs, which is funny in my country. And now we have desaturated that, so that matches up and the light can switch on and off without doing anything horrible. So the idea is that we then take that, we grade the light, so I've made it even more orangey at this point, and then so we're replacing the original light with a more orangey light, and then at the beginning I've got an animated multiply, so it's switched off until frame 15, and then it switches on between frame 16 and frame 17. It's fully on. So that means that we have a nice sort of cut point to our next shot where the light switches on, and then we go into the next shot and the light is already on. So then I have done the same with the HDRI diffuse, and I've just done that to pull some of that out. So I've just used a grade node, so I've taken it out completely and then put it back in at 45%. So I've pulled some of the HDRI diffuse, which of course contributes a lot to my noise, and I don't really like it anyway. It's a bit more dramatic without it, so I've pulled that out. I've also used my specular from my fill light, and I've taken it out and then I've pumped it up, so we get more specular from the fill light, which really helps the gun to ping a little bit. And with the moonlight, I've actually taken it out and put it back in, graded to be a little bit more cool, a little bit more blue, so you know, a little bit more cinematic, you might say. So we're moving away from the black and white look at this point. I've then got my ambient occlusion layer, and I've gammaed that up to reduce the amount of ambient occlusion, and I've multiplied that over. Now you may notice there's a mask input, and that's a cryptomat, which is for the wire of the lamp, and that's because in the ambient occlusion layer we had a slight problem that was becoming very black. So when I switch the mask off and you look at the ambient occlusion, the multiply makes the wire become very black. So I've masked it out, so the ambient occlusion affects everything except the wire, and you get the nice effect without any of that horribleness. So there we go. We are now coming to the really exciting bit, and it's so exciting I'm going to put in another clip.